Okay, hi guys. Today we're going to talk about the very last thing in the chapter, but we're going to spend quite a few days on this. We're going to talk about one new case. So in German we have 4 cases. 3 of them you guys have already learned and mostly mastered. There's still some practice needed, but you guys have them down. And those are, please write them down in order really quick. 1, 2, and 3. So hopefully you put them down, and they are nominative. I'm going to write them in English. Accusative and dative. So those are the 3 cases that you guys are familiar with, and they again were the subjects, as far as parts of speech goes, the direct objects and the indirect objects. And of course this one you can think of as the recipients, the thing being verbed, and the actors. So those were the 3 cases you have. I'm not going to talk at length about these right now. I'm going to talk about them at length later. But for now, there's one new one, and there's one new one that you guys have seen on the case chart all along, and that was the genitive case. And genitive case is showing possession. Possession of things. So we have possessive adjectives that you guys already learned. So possessive adjectives were things like mein, dein, sein, right? So we can use these to modify nouns, and by using them we show possession. So those were the possessive pronouns or possessive adjectives. Okay, but genitive case in itself will show that something is owned by somebody. So I'm going to give you guys an example sentence. So here's the sentence. You've got Michaels Buch liegt auf dem Tisch. So this is the part that I'm talking about. Now if you look at this entire thing, this phrase, this is the subject of the sentence. Okay, Michael's book is laying or sitting on the table. This is the subject. So this entire thing seems like it should be nominative case. And it sort of is, except that you've got this little S right here that shows you that the book belongs to Michael. Right? So Michaels Buch. So that part, this S on the end, is genitive. So it's super easy whenever you're using it with names. It's very much like in English. So Michael's book. And I'm just going to put dot, dot, dot. So in English, we have this little apostrophe S. In German, we don't put that. We just add the S to the very end of that word or name, Michael's book. Or I could say something like Susannes Tasche steht auf dem Tisch. So, same thing, I've got a first name, Susan, and in this case this is Susan's bag or purse is sitting on the table. So again, this whole thing is technically my subject, but this part right here shows you genitive. So it's genitive, it's the purse that belongs to Susan. Okay, so Susan's purse or bag. Okay, so with names it's super easy. It looks almost identical to the English. It gets a little bit funkier if you're using something other than a name. This only works for names. If it's something other than a name, it gets a little bit weird. So I can also say that something belongs to my sister, or I can say something belongs to the child. Now if I say that in English, I would say the child's book, for example. So I would still use the same construction. In German, it doesn't work that way. You in German have to reverse the whole word order. So you're going to say das Buch. So notice this is still nominative right here. And then you're going to go des Kind S. So the word order is reversed, so the child's book. So we're reversing it. We're taking the book, moving it up to the front, and then we're going to follow it with of the child. That's really what we're saying. So des Kindes. So this is your part that is going to be genitive. Now, Kind is your noun, and that is neuter, and it's das Kind. That's what that would look like on its own. In order to make it genitive, I used a des. It's no longer das. The S on the case chart stands for des. And there's a second S on the case chart, and that's for this extra S that I'm adding. So I'm adding an S to the end of that. Notice there's also an extra E. I'm going to get to that in a little bit, but I'm going to give you some more examples first. I can also say, let me think, the stuffed animal of my sister, or my sister's stuffed animal. So this is the stuffed animal of my sister, or in straightforward English, my sister's stuffed animal. So again, I'm reversing it, and then I'm adding genitive endings to the end in order to make it show. So, meine Schwester, there's nothing on the end of Schwester. Schwester, of course, is feminine. And you have an ER ending on this little ein word. All right, and another example, the room of the professor, or the professor's room in straightforward English, Zimmer des Professors. So Professor is masculine, so it is der Professor. Notice there's no extra E here. Der Professor, and it becomes das Zimmer des Professors. So the professor's room. Again, we're reversing the word order. You're moving the thing that is belonging to the professor to the front. It just gets the regular gender, so that's technically this that moves up. Das Zimmer, the room, and then we're saying of the professor, which is des Professors. So again, we've got that S on the case chart, and then Professors also has an extra S added to the end. It's not plural. That shows you that this part is in genitive case. And I could, of course, say an entire sentence with this, making this the subject. Das Zimmer des Professors ist sehr schön. Is very beautiful, or is very pretty. Right? So if I move this whole part down, then it would be in its entirety the subject of the sentence, which means this part in the front is a nominative. The modifier is a genitive only because I'm showing who the room belongs to. Okay? Das Zimmer des Professors ist sehr schön.